report. It is February 5th, 2025. This one is entitled Gaza Plans Divide, because what Trump said yesterday basically created a big rift in the Middle East and everything else, and now he's got his people coming out and trying to explain all that. So we're going to give you a nice foray into that. Other things going on. Netanyahu's in town. And, yeah, the Trump hangover is in full effect. He also signed a big thing today for the women's sports. And as a father of two lady athletes, I applaud him for doing that. We are happy with a lot of stuff going on, but at the same time, we're going to hold people's feet to the fire. So, did a video, just got done over on PrepperNow, if you'd like to go check that one out, called The Agenda, and just kind of what all this is going on and why it's important and how it hopefully will turn out and stop this stuff, this profligate BS spending that's been going on for many years. It just seems to be a bit of a self-financially fulfilling thing for the swamp creatures. So, you know, you're looking up and they've got all these different monies going to groups whose whole purpose is to bring in new neighbors, and it's almost $1 billion. It kind of ticks you off when you think of your friend, your uncle, your whoever that lost their job or lost their business, or, you know, the many veterans that are having a tough time right now and could use that money for their services. It's insulting. So I hope they spread the sunlight. Best disinfectant. Go in there, show everybody what's going on, and let's fix it. So, on that note, this is your crisis report for February 5th, 2025. Here we go. President Trump said the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip and we will do a job with it, too. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said in December 2024, the U.S. Army had its best recruiting number in 12 years. January 2025, the Army hit its recruiting number its best recruiting number in 15 years. America's youth want to serve under the bold and strong America First leadership of Donald Trump, and they do. Nobody wants to serve, Obama hangover communists. Syrian President Ahmad al-Shara met with Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan in Ankara. President of Syria Ahmed al-Shara met in Ankara with Turkish President Erdogan to discuss the ongoing situation in Syria and the Middle East region, as well as enhanced cooperation between the two countries, including possible Turkish military bases in central Syria. Syrian interim government has officially joined the government in Damascus, transferring its institutions and personnel to the new authorities. SIG placed all of its institutions, personnel, and resources under the new central government in Damascus. In an official statement, the Prime Minister of the SIG expressed confidence in the new leadership's vision for Syria. Would Palestinians have the right to return to Gaza if they left while rebuilding was happening? President Trump said it would be my hope that they would do something really nice, really good, where they wouldn't want to return. Why would they want to return? Basically saying they're going to put them someplace where they'd want to stay because it's better. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and United States President Donald Trump were at the White House. Reporter asked, are you talking tonight about the U.S. taking over the sovereign territory? What authority would you allow to do that? Are you talking about a permanent occupation? Trump said, I do see a long-term ownership position of Gaza after Palestinians are moved elsewhere. This is not a decision made lightly, he said, adding that everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land. Sidebar. I don't know about you, but I don't want to own Gaza. I want to fix what's going on, let them figure it out, and then move on with their lives. I don't want our troops over there. I don't want any kind of ownership. I don't want any of it. Senator Lindsey Graham objects to Trump's Gaza intervention, said, I think that would be an interesting proposal. We'll see what our Arab friends say about that. I think that most South Carolinians would probably not be excited about sending Americans to take over Gaza. It might be problematic. Love how he's now finally starting to mention the people he supposedly represents in South Carolina. All right, this is from OSINT Defender. If you actually think anything about said tonight about Gaza is a practical or good idea, you are totally and utterly brain dead. It is clearly crazy to see how many people will switch from withdraw all troops from the Middle East and forever wars to, yeah, let's go pay trillions to sacrifice thousands of service members in order to control and occupy the Gaza Strip, something which will easily take 10 to 15 years. Absolutely correct. Been a clear issue recently with us on the right and those on the left of people just agreeing with every single thing that is said by a certain politician or group. Learn how to have your own opinions and beliefs. Stand by those beliefs. If Trump says something that you as a conservative don't believe in, or if a Democrat politician says something that you as a liberal don't believe in, it is your responsibility as a voter and as an American to call that out, not just agree with it because they're on your side. Agreed. Amount of hypocrisy I've seen tonight by those on the right who are claiming they agree with what Trump said about Gaza is staggering and truly insane. I guarantee you that if Biden had said these exact same things, those same people would be losing their minds, calling him a warmonger, a globalist, and every other thing under the sun. And all that I'm asking is that if you have a belief, stand by that belief. I do. I disagree with Trump. I don't want to own anything of Gaza. I don't want our troops there. I think I included that on purpose because what he said is absolutely true. Foreign Ministry affirms that Saudi Arabia's position on the establishment of a Palestinian state is firm and unwavering. HRH Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud, Crown Prince of Prime Minister, clearly and unequivocally reaffirmed his stance. Decision of President Milei, Argentina is going to withdraw from the World Health Organization. Following Milei's decision and announcement by the presidential spokesperson Manuel Adorni, the government announced Argentina's withdrawal from the WHO. In addition to the high cost of about $10 million a year, it is also due to the poor management of the Rona, putting Argentina in an internal quarantine. U.S. Department of Defense is planning a full withdrawal of U.S. troops from Syria, aiming for 30, 60, or 90 days, following interest from President Trump and his advisors. Iran says U.S. maximum pressure plan will fail as it did in the Trump first term. U.S. military plane carrying 104 illegal Indian immigrants has landed in Amritsar, India today. France rejects third state control in Gaza, calls for a Palestinian state. Hamas says that Trump's plan to take over Gaza will pour oil on the fire. Army recruiting shatters records after President Trump's election win, according to the New York Post. Russia, Ukraine have exchanged 300 POWs. Putin says that the Germans should stop feeling guilty about what happened during World War II and that the current and future generations have nothing to apologize for. That is absolutely correct. Just like you and I, as Americans, shouldn't be apologizing for the former use of slavery. None of us own slaves, so I'm not going to apologize for it. It's a part of our history. We recognize it. We teach it. But that's it. Move on. Trump showers us, Israel, with weapons, kind words, and international support, and he exacts that price from others. Amit Segal said on TV about his pro-Israeli stance. Trump claims that he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize, but they will never give it to me, he said. Kingdom of Saudi Arabia says that Israeli relations have no substance if the state of Palestine will not be established, according to officials. Hezbollah Secretary General Naim Qassem has been appointed as Iran's supreme leader, Khamenei's representative in Lebanon. The latter signed the corresponding decree. Previously, this position was occupied by the liquidated leader of the Nasrallah organization. Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. Trump's statements are a declaration of war on our people in Gaza, will remain resistant to displacement and colonial projects. Colombian President Petro said cocaine is illegal because it is made in Latin America, not because it is worse than whiskey. As a former addict and alcoholic, I can tell you that cocaine is very much worse than whiskey. CDN, drug cartel, based in Nuevo Laredo, Mexico, has issued a statement saying there is no curfew orders issued in the city and the cartel has no intention to attack U.S. forces and Mexican agents following yesterday's buildup and movement of U.S. forces. And to quote Rick James, cocaine is a hell of a drug. Key important decisions taken between Trump and Netanyahu. The U.S. is going to take control of Gaza. Please don't. U.S. and Israel will work on a plan to annex parts of the West Bank. Please stop. U.S. and Israel will lay out plans to avoid Iran from becoming a nuclear-armed nation. And that is your reasoning for going to war. Can you imagine going through all this stuff? They open up all these things, these books, and they get all this pay and everything under control, and then they just take us to another war. Talk about a letdown. USAID reportedly provided over $8 million in funding to the independent outlet Politico through more than 230 transactions. 4 videos ago I did on that whole story. Basically, all these leftist periodicals, online and such, probably some in print too, are completely propped up through this cyclical circular funding thing that USAID was doing. Yeah, and that's your tax money. Israeli foreign minister announces that Israel's decision to leave the UN Human Rights Council. Yes, war equals money. Defense Department drafting plans to withdraw all U.S. troops from Syria after recent Trump comments. Trump and officials close to him expressed interest in pulling all U.S. troops out of Syria, prompting the Pentagon to draw up plans for a full withdrawal within 30, 60, or 90 days. Chinese trade with the U.S. is declining. Yes, this is good news for any kind of a financial war. U.S. imports from China have declined by 8 percentage points since 2018 to 13.5% of all total imports, lowest percentage in 21 years. In other words, the U.S. economy's dependence on China has substantially decreased. By comparison, Mexico's share has risen by 2 percentage points to 15.5, highest on record. U.S. imports from Canada have also slightly increased to 13.5, highest in 10 years. The U.S. seems to be less vulnerable to tariffs from China than it was in the last trade war. Taxiing Japan Airlines plane collided with a parked Delta jet at Seattle Airport, SeaTac. Barack Obama, Michelle Obama's largest donors have abandoned them amid rumors that the couple's marriage is over. USAID has allocated $8.2 million in funding to Politico since 2019. That's according to USA Spending, and that's what we know. Senator Mitch McConnell reportedly fall down a set of stairs once again while leaving the Senate today. Hope he's all right. Consider retiring. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi has ordered the DOJ to halt all federal funding for sanctuary cities immediately upon taking office. DOJ now has access to NOAA's IT systems and is reviewing its DEI program. Why don't you go through and get all the BS environmental stuff. Russia declares its readiness for a very serious conversation about achieving a peaceful resolution to the conflict in Ukraine. Ukrainian UAV strike on Volgograd tonight. Russians are scared. No, they're not. U.S. dairy cows infected with the second form of bird flu known as B313 for the first time, according to USDA. The same form linked to the patient who died in Louisiana, according to ABC News reports. He is actually wrong. It is the D version that's within the article. I did a video about this. I think it's D1, like it's like D1.D3 or something. So, but it's the one that killed the guy in Louisiana. But the guy was like underlying medical problems, that kind of stuff. Marco Rubio says Trump's Gaza offer is a generous and non-hostile offer. Secretary of State says Trump meant Gaza residents are going to leave temporarily, but that would be during reconstruction. President Trump is set to sign an executive order today that aims to ban men from women's athletic events and competing in girls' and women's sports teams by denying federal funds for schools that allow it. Google is eliminating minority hiring goals and will review its DEI programs. Why don't you get rid of your algorithm and make it so censorship doesn't happen on YouTube? Pentagon says 10 high-threat migrants are being held at the Guantanamo. I'm sure that number will go up. Second type of bird flu, D11, told you, been found in U.S. dairy cows for the first time, U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, announced on ABC. Lincoln Project founder Rick Wilson calls for Donald Trump to be publicly executed in a tweet likening him to Benito Mussolini. Why don't you slither away into irrelevance, Rick? Jordan is ready to declare war on Israel in the event that Netanyahu attempts to forcibly expel Palestinians into its territory. That could be a problem. Spain has rejected President Trump's proposal to settle Gaza residents outside the territory. Senator Rand Paul comes out against Trump's intervention plan in Gaza, said, "I thought we voted for America first," end quote. "We have no business contemplating yet another occupation to doom our treasury and spill our soldiers' blood." End quote. White House says President Trump is committed to rebuilding Gaza and temporarily relocating those who are there, but they say that the U.S. won't pay for the reconstruction. USAID has a powerful weapon funded by the U.S. government. Gil Bates, Mr. Soros, and many other of the rich of the rich, through which millions of liberals were financed who were responsible for causing riots, protests, brainwashing people, inciting riots, and ultimately regime change, as they called it, was pushing legal governments around the world. One such recent example is Georgia, a country bordering Russia, a country with a small population, but a huge number of parasites who received monthly salaries to organize protests and riots. USAID will not be destroyed, but will only be reconstructed and will most likely be completely directed in favor of a certain country in the Middle East to restore its damaged image. I don't know, he might be right. Trump now says he wants Iran to be a great and successful country. Quote, "I want Iran to be a great and successful country, but one that cannot have a nuclear weapon. Reports that the United States, working on its conjunction with Israel, is going to blow Iran to smithereens." That's all greatly exaggerated, he said. "I would much prefer a verified nuclear peace agreement which will let Iran peacefully grow and prosper. We should start working on it immediately and have a big Middle East celebration when it's signed and completed. God bless Middle East." Germany ready to consider to deploy troops to Greenland due to the U.S. threat, according to Der Spiegel. German government is ready to consider the idea of deploying NATO troops to Greenland amid U.S. presidential Donald Trump's interest in the island, according to Der Spiegel. U.S. is ready to send troops to Gaza. All options are on the table. That's according to U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, who he said that on Fox News. TASS, the Russian news agency, says the U.S. authorities are considering all possible actions regarding the Gaza Strip, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said. He noted that the U.S. is far from sending troops to Gaza and will coordinate with Israel in countering Iran. Wired, a number of federal employees at the NOAA, have received orders to temporarily cease communicating with foreign nationals, including those working directly with the U.S. government, that's according to AZ Intel. Ted Cruz gave a statement saying that the South African government seems to be going out of their way to alienate the United States and our allies in the latest rupture between Washington and Pretoria. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz confirms that Trump's plan to take over Gaza is intended to pressure neighboring Gulf Arab nations to propose their own solution. And this is from Erdogan. He said, I reached an agreement with Syrian president on important decisions that will change the future of the region. I wonder if he's asking for any land. A little colonization, huh? U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says our offer to step in, clear the debris, and clean the place up, that's Gaza, from all the destruction. People are going to have to live somewhere else while Gaza is being rebuilt. It is a unique offer. It was not meant to be a hostile move. Netanyahu was aware of Trump's Gaza plan for quite some time. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Trump's Gaza plan was meant as a very generous move. No other countries have stepped up for the task. Hamas official Sami Abu Zuhri on Trump's plan says, if Washington wants to go ahead with Trump's plan, it will be in confrontation with the entire region. There are a lot of people that are worried about that, that's saying these words by Trump on this whole annexing Gaza are kind of bellicose. So, a lot of people unhappy. Iranian foreign minister. Trump's proposal is consistent with the Zionist regime's plan to exterminate Palestine. Canadian Foreign Ministry, our position on Gaza is firm and has not changed, and we are committed to achieving the two-state solution. Trump, during the next 4 weeks, will publish our plan regarding the annexation of Judea and Samaria by Israel. Prime Minister Netanyahu gave U.S. President Trump a golden pager and a regular pager as a gift. And Trump replied, it was a great operation. Really? Wall Street Journal. Trump's plan for Gaza only recently took shape. It was kept secret and presented only to the president's advisors and associates. Trump told Netanyahu in a conversation they had at the end of the summer that day that Gaza Strip was a real estate asset and asked him to think about what hotels could be built there. So basically, they're trying to play to his real estate broker side. And they said, hey, this is beachfront property. This could be the best. It's on the Med. You'll love it. So he's probably bringing in people to, I don't know. I think they're just playing to his real estate side. According to Israel's Channel 12 News, 3 more countries, the Trump administration in talks for transferring Gazans. That is Somaliland, Puntland, and Morocco. First 2 need international recognition. The third is concerned about the continued recognition of its sovereignty over Western Sahara and all other countries with a absolute Sunni Muslim majority. Panic amongst those in the Arab world who detest the Palestinians. Saudi state media reports that Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman received a phone call from the King of Jordan, during which they discussed regional developments and exchanged views on the latest events and efforts to achieve security and stability. King of Jordan expressed his appreciation for Saudi Arabia's firm and supportive positions on the rights of the Palestinian people. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has announced he won't be going to South Africa for the G20 summit. New York Fire Department is battling a massive 4-alarm blaze in an apartment building in Manhattan. Hope everybody's all right there. Elon Musk and his Doge team have now obtained security clearances. And that, my friends, is the news for, I don't even know what day it is, February 5th, 2025. By the way, how's the sound? If the sound is pretty good, I'm using a different set of headphones tonight. If the sound's good, put a 1 in. If it sounds like poo-poo, put a 2. Just tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're thinking. All right, so 1 is good, 2 is poo. All right, looks like we got about a bunch of 1s in there. So, all right. Friends, that's your crisis report, February 5th, 2025. Hope you enjoyed the format. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please share it out. Get other people on board with what we're doing here. This is the most comprehensive news on YouTube. Sounds good. We can hear fans and air movement. Yeah, there's air conditioning in here. Don't have a fan on, but my air conditioning or heater, I guess, is under us. So, but yeah, thank you all so much. God bless you guys for being here. We'll be back again, I believe, tomorrow. Hopefully you're not getting too much ice or snow. But as we say, stack, stock, stick to the plan. Keep your head in the swivel and your powder dry. And we appreciate you coming by. The Crisis Report. Good night.